Do you struggle with ADHD, autism, chronic pain? Maybe you have a dysregulated dopamine system. Dopamine controls everything you do, and if you want to learn to control your life, you need to control your dopamine. My name's Chris. I'm a chemist. I studied how to make drugs at university. That was my speciality. So I studied chemistry with medicinal biology so that I could figure out how to improve my life and improve the lives of other people that suffer with chronic pain and ADHD and autism. And one of the things that I was never told at university was how to actually regulate dopamine without drugs, because my course was about making drugs. I was going to work in the pharmaceutical industry. Then they're not interested in cures that are free. So through a little bit of experimentation, I developed a concept that I call the dopamine pump, which means that I have literally unlimited supply of dopamine all day, whenever I want it, on demand, as much as I want, no drugs, no side effects, and it's available to anyone on the planet at any time. Now, what is this dopamine pump? Well, your nervous system reacts to changes in environmental stimulus. The problem with modern society is we live in these sterile environments where things aren't changing. We're in a house or a classroom. We're somewhere, in a man-made building where the environment isn't changing. So you're expected to sit still, shut up, not say anything, not move, not twitch, not fidget, nothing. Sit there and focus on what some teacher is telling you without any stimulation at all. And people with ADHD need more stimulation than people who don't have ADHD. So you're expecting these kids to just sit there completely silent and still, not giving them any opportunity to make more dopamine. So when I was 10 years old, I made a discovery that changing sensory stimulation on your skin releases dopamine. And everyone thought I was crazy, because there was no talk of dopamine back in the 90s. Not really, not in the general population. Now, with social media, dopamine is becoming a bit of a buzzword. But yeah, back in the 90s, I was regarded as being crazy for even suggesting that stimulating your body gives you dopamine. But it's totally acceptable to drug a child, to give a 6-year-old kid addictive drugs, to force them to listen to you at school, or force them to be a good child and do as they're told. But there's side effects to drugs. There's always going to be a side effect to take any chemical stimulant. And you either put up with those side effects or you don't. And I'd rather have a way to make dopamine without poisoning my body, as natural as possible, without any risk to my future health. I don't understand why people don't know this. Steve Jobs had ADHD, and he knew this secret. He built a multi-billion-dollar company based on accessing his higher consciousness, his intuition. And the way he did it was by walking barefoot. This is not woo-woo magic. This is not some hippie, oh yes, I'm going to just be barefoot in the fields. This is about productivity. This is about mental health. This is about learning to regulate your body, reduce chronic pain, reduce chronic illness in your entire body. All you have to do is take your shoes off and walk barefoot. It's not some impossible thing. Everybody, unless you don't have feet, but if you have feet and you have the ability to stand up, walk. The way it works is every step you take when you're barefoot is a different texture. And the cells, the nerve cells in the soles of your feet react to changes in stimulation. If you are wearing socks or shoes, you are removing that sensory stimulation. Therefore, the nerves in your feet are not sending signals that the environment is changing. And if the environment's not changing, there's no point wasting dopamine by continually sending the same signal again and again and again. So the amount of dopamine that's released when you're walking with shoes on is dampened by the fact that your shoes and socks are not changing. The texture of your socks is always the same. The temperature is the same. The pressure is the same. Every step is the same. So your brain just shuts down and doesn't receive any information. There's nothing changing, so there's nothing to listen to. But your brain needs constant updates on your environment. So if your environment's not changing, then your dopamine will gradually reduce. Your baseline dopamine is the sort of average of the activity that's happening in your body at any one time. So if you're sitting still, not in a school classroom or at home, and the only thing that's changing is either your phone screen in front of you and you're constantly scrolling on social media, or you're watching TV, or you're watching a teacher, the only thing that's changing is the visual field. The photons hitting your eye are changing, so your eyes are using dopamine to send that signal to your brain saying the visual environment is changing. But your physical environment is staying exactly the same. And if your physical environment isn't changing, then you're not stimulating dopamine release. And if you have ADHD, your dopamine is limited by how long it can stay in effect without more stimulation. If you take a normal person, then they can focus on something for maybe 90 minutes without needing a break. But someone with ADHD, it's like a faster reset. So your dopamine baseline returns to baseline quicker. There's many different mechanisms for this, but it means that people with ADHD need more stimulation more regularly to maintain the same amount of baseline dopamine as a regular human. But if you learn how to stimulate your body, this is what stimming toys are all about, fidget toys and all these gadgets now. It's about changing sensory stimulation on your skin. There's things that you can hold in your hands, there's things that you can chew, there's all these different ways of getting extra stimulation. But the highest concentration of nerve endings and the highest production of dopamine is when you're walking barefoot. They did an experiment. This is actual science. This is not some random hippie theory. They took some children and they did an experiment where half the children were shoes, half the children were barefoot. And after 20 minutes playing outside, the group that were barefoot had far higher cognitive function on the tests that they did. They did brain scans. They did other tests to see how much their focus and attention was improved by being barefoot. The barefoot group absolutely outperformed everybody. So this is not woo-woo magic. This is actual science. If you walk barefoot outside, then every step you take is unique, and therefore your brain registers a new pattern. Your brain is a pattern matching engine. It's looking for things, to your current sensory experience, and it compares it to previous sensory experiences. And if it detects changes in your environment, you get a little hit of dopamine. It's the novelty effect. That's why social media is so addictive, because you're constantly getting new information all the time, and the brain craves stimulation, especially ADHD brains. So if you're going to sit there and scroll on your phone all day, that changing information is only going to be triggering dopamine while you're on your phone. As soon as you put your phone down, the stimulation stops. And if you have ADHD, your baseline dopamine starts to crash very quickly, and you'll need more stimulation again. So you pick up your phone again, or you take more drugs, or whatever, watch more porn, or whatever, eat more food, whatever way you need to stimulate dopamine. But what if you could just walk barefoot and you get all the dopamine you want for free whenever you need it? Okay, sometimes it's a bit cold and maybe you don't want to be outside barefoot. Okay, well, you can still do this inside, but the trick is to have constantly changing stimulation. So walk somewhere in your house barefoot on different surfaces. So maybe you walk from lino to carpet, back to lino again, and keep moving so that you're changing the stimulation on the soles of your feet. Every time you step, you get a little tiny hit of dopamine. The more uncomfortable those steps are, so if you're walking on small stones, when you're out in nature, there'll be all sorts of things on the ground, stones and sharp plants and all sorts of things that can hurt your feet. But when you hurt your feet, you get even more dopamine. You get far, far more dopamine when you stand on something that's uncomfortable than you do if you're standing on something comfortable. So right now I'm walking on grass. It's very, very soft. It's a minimum amount of stimulation. Whereas if you walk on stones and gravel or anything painful, you're hyperstimulating those nerve endings. And when you hyperstimulate a nerve ending, it basically runs out of its ability to send messages. Basically, you have a limited amount of dopamine in the cell, and if you constantly overstimulate that cell, you run out of dopamine, and the cell starts to panic and goes, the environment is changing too fast for me to register what's going on. And it sends a warning signal to the brain saying, your environment is changing too rapidly. You need to send in more troops. And that pain signal, so when you get out of bed and you step on a Lego and you go, ow, and you react to that Lego, that's your brain reacting to the fact that your sensory environment is changing too fast for you to register. And then it's like, oh shit, I need to send more dopamine to help these cells function, because the cell needs a certain amount of dopamine. So it pumps a little bit of dopamine into your blood to reach down to your feet nerve cells. And every step you take that's uncomfortable sends a little bit more dopamine. So imagine you take 10,000 steps a day. That's 10,000 free hits of dopamine if you're walking on something that's uncomfortable. If you're walking on something comfortable, you still get dopamine, but it's not triggering extra release of dopamine. It's just, it's the amount of dopamine that's already there being recycled. But when it's painful, it tricks your brain into releasing more dopamine so that you can not be in pain, basically. Your brain doesn't want to be in pain. So imagine, thousands of years ago, you're living in the wilderness like this, and you're being chased by a tiger or some other big animal, but humans didn't evolve wearing shoes. You were going to be barefoot. I mean, can you imagine how much humans would have survived if we, like, every time we took a step, we're like, ow, 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 like a baby? No, humans have lived through ice ages, through millions of years of evolution before we wear shoes. Shoes are a modern invention relatively compared to human evolution. So you've got all these secret weapons inside your nervous system that we shut off and keep completely dormant and never use them. How many people walk barefoot? Almost none. I'm literally even now, I see a few people online that are promoting having a barefoot lifestyle, but nobody ever talks about dopamine, and why they're barefoot, apart from it feels nice. It feels nice because you're literally pumping dopamine into your body and your brain every step you take. So now I'm walking on rocks. So now every step is painful. So the dopamine is much, much higher because, ow, everything hurts now. Yeah. So the more you walk on surfaces that are painful, the stronger your feet will get. And over time, as you adapt, you'll become so strong that you can jump on rocks, you can dance on a bed of nails, you can do all these crazy things because your nervous system is trained enough that it will send out dopamine on request. Your request is by stimulating your skin to a point where it's uncomfortable but not dangerous. So you don't want to break the skin or damage the nerve endings, but applying pressure to nerve endings, this is what acupressure, acupuncture, and all these other so-called Eastern medicines and whatever, they're all about dopamine, really. Most of the alternative therapies, they're all about how to stimulate your nervous system to help your body regulate. And that's why people feel better when they go for acupuncture and acupressure and massage and aromatherapy and yoga. All these things, they're all triggering dopamine release. And as you trigger more dopamine release, you get happier, you feel better, you have more focus, you have more motivation, you're not stuck with brain fog, and chronic pain goes down because pain is a signal to your brain that that nerve cell doesn't have enough supplies. Well, if your baseline dopamine is crashed down because you've got ADHD and you're not moving and you're not stimulating your body, you are going to have chronic pain. But if you walk barefoot in nature, in nature's best, at home you can still do it if you walk on something that you've homemade. I'll show you a different video of ways that I do this in the winter when it's minus 20 or whatever. I don't walk barefoot then. But I have a system at home where I have gravel and other things that I can walk on to stimulate my body. And I do this every day. Whenever I need dopamine, I stimulate my skin and I get free dopamine. Woo! It's literally that easy. No one teaches this. I've been literally alone in this idea for 34 years. I've been teaching people privately this for the last 20 years, but I've never taught it publicly before. Maybe I'm completely crazy, but from all the stuff that I've learned in neuroscience, this is how nerves work. So all you have to do is try it. And if you try it and it works for you, amazing. If you try it and it doesn't work for you, then I'd like to know and see why it might not work for you, because there are potential other problems. Depends on what the cause of the ADHD is, for a start. There's many different causes. I'm an ADHD coach, so I have a lot of knowledge and experience in the field of ADHD. Yeah, if you want to boost your dopamine for free, you literally just have to take your shoes off. If you're sitting at a desk at school, why do you need shoes? Why? Why do you need shoes in a classroom? Why can't the kids at school take their shoes off and then have something on the floor that they can use to roll their feet on, something like a massage roller or a ball or something, so they can stimulate their feet while they're doing their schoolwork, and then their schoolwork will improve. They will literally have better focus, better cognitive performance, better memory, everything improves. But we lock our feet in these plastic boxes all day. Most people put shoes on in the morning and then they're not barefoot until they go to bed. And some people even sleep in their socks, which means there's literally zero stimulation on the most sensitive part of your body for some people's entire lives. And then when they are barefoot, it's so painful that they can't even bear to stand on something barefoot. Well, you've broken your body, because that's not how your body is supposed to work. Like right now, if there was some kind of animal chasing me, I'd be running, and if I land on a rock, it gives me more energy. Otherwise, we would have been extinct millions of years ago. We would never have survived this long. So you need to activate your ancestral DNA. It's not that hard. So if you want to learn a bit more about this technique, I'll make some more videos about it. I don't want to make this video 10 hours long, but I'm going to do some more videos directly about dopamine and how ADHD affects your dopamine levels. ADHD is a real condition. It's a genetic condition, but it's genetic combined with environment. 80% of the ADHD symptoms are directly gene related, but the rest are environmental related and food related. And there's lots of different aspects to ADHD and how it manifests in each person. Each person is unique, so they'll have a different genetic profile and a unique environmental profile. So to help somebody with ADHD, you really need to know a little bit more details about their genes and their environment. But the treatment for ADHD just seems to be, oh, you've got ADHD, we did a survey, asked you a few questions, didn't do one single test on you, just ask you a few questions. And if you say, oh, I find it difficult to focus, or I miss appointments, I'm always late, or whatever, then they give you stimulant drugs. Yeah, let's just give everyone meth. Yeah, it's not quite meth. Yeah, amphetamine is a little bit different, but they do the same thing. So you're basically giving a child speed so that they'll be a good boy. Like, come on, man. There's better ways to help people than put them on drugs. But humans are generally lazy, and the best solution for a human is take drugs because it's easy. Pop a pill, problem solved. But it just leads to more problems down the line because you're not fixing the root cause of the problem. And that's what most pharmaceuticals is. It's not fixing root problems. It's masking symptoms by manipulating your biochemistry, which is in some cases necessary, but in other cases, you're just causing yourself more problems down the line. And I personally think that if you can cure something naturally without man-made chemicals, it has to be better than disrupting your body's biochemistry with drugs. So everything I do is to find ways to naturally improve my health without too much reliance on drugs. I do take some things, if I've got an infection, I take antibiotics, or sometimes I take painkillers. But I don't ever want to be on a drug every day and need an external pill to function on a daily basis. Having 25 years of chronic pain was brutal, but I managed to cure that completely through diet and lifestyle changes. The two main things was go to a plant-based diet and walk barefoot in nature every day. I walk barefoot even in the snow, in the rain, in the mud, don't care. I go outside at least once a day barefoot. You don't have to be 24/7 barefoot if you don't want to, but at least once a day, preferably in the morning to give you an energy boost for the day, and then in the evening to discharge all the day's electrons into the ground. I'll talk more about grounding in a different video, but give you a basic introduction. Grounding is about absorbing electrons from the earth to balance your nervous system, and it basically helps to neutralize free radicals, and it does a whole load of stuff, but I'll do that in a different video because that's going to be more complicated. But yeah, grounding is walking barefoot outside in natural environments. So if you do that every day, your health will improve, I guarantee it. I don't know why people are so scared to be barefoot, like, oh my god, I might tread on some dirt. So what, wash your feet. So what? I might tread on a stone. Good. You need to tread on stones. Your body needs stimulation. One of the biggest problems in society is we don't stimulate our body. We only stimulate our head. We stimulate our mouth with food. We stimulate our eyes with TVs and phones. We stimulate our ears with music. And we shut off the rest of our body. Well, your body is like 90% of your nervous system. Like, why don't you use it? Why don't you use it? It's not that hard. But we live in this really weird society where stimulating your body is regarded as taboo. Like, you're weird if you stimulate your body. I don't get it. Can someone explain that to me? Why it's so taboo to stimulate your skin? It just doesn't make any sense at all. So yeah, if someone can explain why society does that, it would be nice. I'm autistic. I don't understand people at all. Everything you do is weird. I'm regarded as weird for living a natural life, whereas other people live some crazy, unnatural life and end up with chronic disease, chronic mental health conditions, and they call me crazy. I'm like, well, you're the one who's sick from your lifestyle. I'm not. So if you want to be healthy, you've got to get barefoot and get outside. It's not that hard. Come on. Just do it once. Go. Do it now, right now. Take your shoes off. Go for a walk. It's completely free. And it's the best thing you can do for your health, mental and physical health. So go on. Go outside. Get some sunshine. Walk barefoot on the grass. Walk barefoot anywhere. And if you get dirty feet, so what? Have a shower. We've invented washing quite a long time ago. It's not that hard. Have a shower, clean your feet. Watch where you're going so you don't stand on broken glass. Like, oh, what if I stand on broken glass? And well, look where you're going. Look at the floor. And then calculate what's the next best step that I can take that's going to be the safest. Right? If you can't do that, then you are like you're seriously causing yourself problems for no reason. Right? Open your eyes. If you're blind, okay, I get it. This might be difficult for you. Find somewhere safe and do it there. But to never do this, you are damaging your health. You're damaging your brain, you're damaging your nervous system, you're damaging your mitochondria, you're damaging every part of your body if you don't walk barefoot in nature. So that's enough for this video. Hope that helps some of you, maybe. If it has helped you, write a comment below, tell me how you feel, and see you in the next video. Bye.